Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I would like to say a huge thank you to Rich Allsup for sending in some awesome pictures of his 6th Mordhau Volunteers and 2 vehicles from the 15th Mordhau Hussars. Side note, Mordhau, the video game, one of my favourite video games of all time. I just love a bit of old medieval combat. Really big thank you to Rich for sending these pictures in. You did say in your email, oh, you know, don't be too harsh on me on the painting, mate. You've not done it in 15 years. But let me tell you, dude, you have done a great paint job. I don't think I could do any better. You know, they look really, really good. Really love the fluff behind the army, the mix of anvil bits, the old Empire fantasy bits, and the Imperial Guards have all mashed together. It just looks really, really good. Like the fluff and how, you know, if you're a lawbreaker, you have to go into the infantry. All this stuff. Really, really cool. So thanks for sending these pictures in, Rich. If anyone else has got any cool pictures they want me to use in my videos, please post on my Facebook page or email them in to me at mordianglorytv@gmail.com. One thing I do want to say as well is I may not get back to every single email and I may not get back to every single comment, but I promise that I read every single email and I do read every single comment as well. So I do at least do that. So thank you, Rich, for sending these in. And without further ado, let's crack on with today's video. So today, guys, I want to do another 5-minute video, quick tip, Tactica. And before someone says, oh, you always say it's a 5-minute video, Morning Glory, then it goes on for like 10 or 11 minutes. It's a generic 5 minutes. It's a term of phrase. I mean, it'll be a short one. Don't judge me so harshly. Do you want more content or not? Anyway, let's not get too angry at that one specific comment that I wrote in that one video that kept me up all night tossing and turning. Anyway. I can take criticism, I promise. Anyway, what we're going to be doing today, in today's probably not 5-minute quick tip Tactica, is going to be Astra Militarum Flamer Command Squads. Okay, burn, baby, burn. Okay, now, you see, Flamers have had a boost. I say recently, I was going to say recently, but it's not, it's a few months now. But the thing is that a lot of the time, outside like specialist squads, you can't really, it's difficult to get a lot of Flamers in one place. You know, some squads can do it. You know, there is always some way of, you know, taking a lot of Flamers. But it's one of those tricky ones where, for example, you know, you could take Sisters of Battles, Retributors, you give them more heavy Flamers. That's great, but you know, they've got a decent range and all this kind of stuff, but they, you know, they can't really deep strike in or anything like that. You know what I mean? And they're expensive, or you know, or it's just difficult to get enough in certain squads. So it's one of those tricky ones where sometimes it can be quite difficult to mass Flamers and also get them into range. Even with the new boost to their range, it can still be quite difficult. I think Guard are in a unique position where not only do we have the ability to deploy Flamer command squads almost anywhere that we want on the board, but we also can take them en masse for cheap. Okay, so what am I talking about? Morning Glory, stop teasing us. Tell us. Give us the juice. Okay, I'll give you the juice. What about heavy Flamer and Flamer command squad? So in your basic command squad, it costs 24 points. It's got 6 veterans in it. Now, you're not taking advantage of the Bliss Skill 3+. I'll admit, okay? I'll admit you're not taking advantage of that. But the one advantage of the Flamer command squad is that it actually is much cheaper than taking like a Plasma command squad, because a Flamer on a veteran is cheaper. It's 5 points. It's not 10 points for a Plasma like it is on a veteran. And it's only 5 points for one in an infantry squad. So it's cheap. Number one, it's cheap. So you're not paying 16 points for a Plasma vet who is going to drop in and just die. You're actually paying, what, like 11 points? It's much cheaper. It's like a third of the price. 33% off, roughly. So it's cheap. So you can actually take a command squad with 3 Flamers in it, and you're also allowed to take a heavy Flamer in there as well for only 49 points. Now that is dirt cheap. That's 4d6. Okay, it's 3d6 strength 4 shots, and it's 1d6 strength 5 AP -1 shots. Now on its own, that's like, yeah, that's okay. But you can take 3 of these bad boys. You can take 3 of these for less than 150 points. Okay? And now you're looking at 12d6 attacks. Automatically hitting. Okay? But you're like, okay, this is great, One Globe. But how do I get them into position? Valkyries. Valkyries are a hidden gem in the Guard Codex at the moment. If any of you watch Tabletop Tactics, you know that they have a Minotaur and Tempest's army, and they've been using their Valkyries on there, and every single time they use them, they're like, oh, these are surprisingly effective. They're effective, and I'm not even really that surprised. They are cheap. A basic Valkyrie is 120 points, and that comes with 2 multiple rocket pods. Now, it's up to you as the player whether you want to pay the extra 30 points for the heavy bolters. They have had the buffs now. I will be doing a video on Valkyries and heavy bolters and whatnot. But the point is that even if you just want to take this as a delivery system, it's 120 points for a 14 wound transport with a 3+ save, -1 to hit, and toughness 7. Okay. Now, some of you may know I've recently, thanks to Christmas, started looking into getting some orcs and building up an orc force. And I'm looking at their transport, and they don't. You're looking at a battle wagon, which is the same toughness, worse armor save, worse movement, but it's the same. It's more expensive. And the Valkyrie is tougher. It has like two more wounds, and it can carry a few more guys, but. But the point is that the Valkyrie, it can transport 12 people. It's tough, it's fast, and the best thing about it is you can disembark after moving via the grav shoot rule. Okay, so for those that don't know, the grav shoot rule on a Valkyrie means if you fly over 20 inches, you can still disembark, but on a 1, your guys break the legs. A bit like, when a transport explodes, okay? But you do it after movement, and you can disembark. It's over any point the vehicle has moved, so you can't disembark out the front of the Valkyrie. You have to fly over, and your guys, fast rope or parachute out the back, okay? But this is a turn 1 flamer delivery system. Turn 1. Now, it says over 20 inches for the grav shoot break your legs rule, right? The minimum move for the Valkyrie is 20. So if you just move 20, and we're looking at smaller boards now, guys. So just moving 20 is probably enough. Combine that, smaller boards, 20 inches, and the extended range on the Flamer. You're now looking at probably not having to move over 20 to get your men into range. So you can still move 20, grav shoot out, and because you've not moved over 20 inches, you don't break your legs. Now, unless that's been FAQ'd in one of the myriad oceans of FAQs that are out there, but I still think it says, as far as it's not been changed, over 20 inches equals leg breaking, disembarking. 20 inches or less, and the minimum move is 20 inches when you're flying, when you're supersonic, you don't need to break your legs getting out. You don't need to do the break the legs test. You don't need to roll those dice and worry about those ones. So it's quite good. So what you do is you take this Valkyrie, and you have a choice of how you want to do this. You could put 3 command squads in there, and you can have a package for about less than 270 points. You can fly it in there, turn 1, drop your guys out, 12d6 flamers. 9 of them are regular flamers, 3 of them are heavy flamers. No orders or anything, just pure burn, baby, burn. Or, if you like to be a bit more sophisticated, if you like a bit of finesse with your flamer, with your weapon of immolation, then what you can do is you could put 2 command squads in there, maybe a company commander and an astropath in there. So what that allows you to do is to fly over. You only get 8 d6 flamers, but you could issue both squads reroll 1s to wound with bring them down. You don't have to do that on a big target. So now you've got reroll 1s to wound in there. And with Catachan, or you could be Catachans and use burn them out on there. Catachans, flamers, burn them out. Very nice, very nice. And the Astropath, if you choose to take one of those, will allow you to ignore cover. Because it's nothing like blunting your enthusiasm for flamers when the enemy's got a 2+ save and they're sat in cover. But if they're not, if they're on a 3+ save, that's quite good. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't necessarily. How I would use this is kind of interesting. I'd either use it to clear utter chaff. Let's say you've got some Scions or something similar coming. This tactic can still be used for Scion command squads if you want to do it that way. Or they can just deep strike in. They don't need to use the Valkyrie. But that's another good point. You could do this whole thing if you're a Scion player and just be like, you know what? I'm not going to pay for that Valkyrie. I'm just going to deep strike in and have a good time. Although The reason you may want to take that Valkyrie is for the precision drop stratagem. When your guys jump out of the Valkyrie, you can spend a CP and you can deep strike within 5 inch, over 5 inches rather than over 9 inches. So there's two ways I would use this. All right, I'd use it to clear some chaff if you need to clear some chaff. I'd use this to bully a backfield objective holding unit. There are still many armies that rely upon pushing 90% of the army forward and leaving, a unit like Grots, or just like a unit like Guardsmen, or even like, no, they're not objective secured anymore, but like Scouts, or in this case regular just plain tactical marines, or Cultists. There's so many, especially in this age of elite infantry. There are a lot of armies which are relying upon something cheap to hold back, so they can push forward all their elite infantry into the centre, because winning the game is in the centre objectives, unless someone can threaten your back objectives, which this can. You could fly over, jump out, flame them off their back objective, and that totally messes with you. Now they've got to send something back, so now their brawl in the centre isn't as powerful. There's a lot of stuff going on, so that's one way to use it. Clear some chaff, but that's a bit basic. Backfield objective shenanigans, because then you'll have 3 squads there as well, or 2 squads and a couple of characters. Or, this is the interesting one, character assassination. You see, Flamers are actually surprisingly good at killing characters, especially those which are left, behind, just behind the front screen. They're not fully bubble wrapped. They're not fully bubble wrapped. Your opponent in their head isn't going to be thinking, those Flamers are really good for killing characters. That's what you use Flamers for. No, because Flamers are the quintessential anti-horde thing, in people's instincts. But actually, if you imagine this situation where you fly forward, and there's a lot of characters these days which have some sort of inbuilt -1 to hit, Genestealer, Occult, Shadow Stalkers. There's loads of, as just a quick example, there are a lot of characters which have some sort of inbuilt -1, and even if they don't, there's a lot of characters which have a 4+ invulnerable save. Okay, most characters that are worth their salt come with an invulnerable save. Most characters that are better than a Guardsman equivalent will come with a 4+ invulnerable save. So you don't really need the huge amount of AP. But what that character is going to struggle to do is if they are forced onto a 4+ invulnerable save, and also forced onto just taking a massive amount of 3+s. If we look at it like a Marine equivalent, and we always compare to a Marine equivalent because there's so many equivalents to Marines. But if you imagine some sort of Marine character and you drop down, you've got 9d6 flamer shots, okay? Just regular flamer shots. Okay, that is going to be, what, about 30 flamers? I'm roughing it out here. It's 3.5 per dice. It's not times 10, which would be 35. So it's about 31.5. So we'll say 30. It's about 30 flamer hits. Now that just hits. Then you've got the wounds. Okay. Now you're wounding on 4s against this Marine equivalent guy. So that's 15 wounds. Now if you've got reroll 1s on there, you might not. Let's say you don't. 15 wounds. Okay, you're going to do 15 wounds to the guy. He's going to fail 5 saves. Statistically, he'll fail 5 saves, even on a 3+. Okay. Now he fails a lot of these Primaris characters. What we've got to understand is a lot of Primaris characters, which Primaris are the hot topic at the moment. Well, they have been for a while. They have a normal armor save, but not a huge amount of invulnerable save. Typically, just a 4+, right? So you're not going, or not a lot of Primaris characters have a Storm Shield. I think there's one dude who's got one, okay, and he's not a particularly popular model because whilst he's got a Storm Shield, he's got just a weird pistol. You don't really want a weird pistol on a Marine character. You kind of want him to be in there smashing face, right? So you drop down and you do this, and that's 5 unsafe wounds. Now that's a dead captain, dead regular Space Marine captain. It's a dead Primaris lieutenant, right? There may still be one or two wounds left on that regular Primaris case. It's a Primaris captain, they've got 6 wounds. You haven't even taken into account your heavy flamers yet. That's another 3d6 heavy flamers. That's another 10.5, which is 11. Let's be generous and say 11, because we were mean on the heavy flame, on the regular flames, weren't we? 11 wounds, 11 hits. You're wounding on 3s now. You're looking at 7 or 8 wounds. It's -1. So the guy's going to fail another 3 to 4 saves. This thing can drop down, and against marine equivalents, it can throw down easily between 9 to 10 wounds. Now that is a character killed. 10 wounds, that's a 5-man backfield objective holding squad killed. Okay, now the last piece of the puzzle, the last little thing I want to mention on this quick tip tactical that's going to last about 15 minutes is these individual squads are quite small. They've got a small footprint. Okay, now typical tournament boards tend to have a couple of big bits in each deployment zone and then at least one massive bit in the middle, right? What this means is because they've got individually quite small footprints, you may not be able to hide all 3 squads, but there's a very, very high likelihood that you're going to be able to hide 2 squads. Especially if it's 2 squads and 2 characters that you're rocking around with. You know, you've taken option B. In that case, what you can do is if we start talking about this not just in terms of killing stuff, because that's not as important in 9th, it's still very important, not as important. What this could be is you fly in and you burn off the enemy backfield objective holding squad. You know, those 5 intercessors are toast. Right? You burn them off. Great. Then, not only have you removed the enemy's backfield objective, which could deny them 5 primary points. You know, next turn, that might mean it gets to their turn. Oh, we're only on 1 objective. Or 1 no objective. So you take an objective off them, there's a very strong chance that you've denied your opponent at least 5 primary points. On top of that, if you've taken the secondary line breaker, you will have at least 2 units in the enemy backfield. You might have even taken deployed teleport homers or scramblers. So not only is it potentially denying the opponent or robbing the opponent of primary, it's also, if you build your secondaries around, you know you're going to have this tactic, it's also allowing you to score your own secondaries. Engage in all fronts is another one that you could use to play this tactic off. There you go. Last thing, guys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Flamers plus Valkyries equals winning. They let you burn and they let you get points. And points mean prizes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.